Hare Krishna. भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शतां स्वकथा कृष्ण Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastho Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhasatam Dashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we will be covering Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 5, the meeting of Nanda Mahārāja and Vasudeva. In the previous chapter, we covered the atrocities of King Kamsa. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 5, verse 1 and 2. Shri Shuka Uvacha Nandasto Atmaja Utpanne Jata Lado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipran Vedagyan Snatah Shuchiralam Tritaha Vachayitva swastyayanam Jata karmatmajasya vai Karyamasa vidhivat Pitra devachanam tatha Nandasto Atmaja Utpanne Jata Lado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipran Vedagyan Snata Shuchi Alamkritaha Vachayitva swastyayanam Jata karmatmajasya vai Karyam asa vidhivat Pitra devarchanam tatha Nandasto Atmaja Utpanne Jata Lado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipran Vedagyan Snata Shuchiralam Tritaha Vachayitva swastyayanam Jata karmatmajasya vai Karyam asa vidhivat Pitra devachanam tatha Shri Shuka Uvacha Nandasto Atmaja Utpanne Jata Lado Mahamanaha Ahuya Vipran Vedagyan Snata Shuchi Alamkritaha Vachayitva swastyayanam Jata karmatmajasya vai Karyam asa vidhivat Pitra devachanam tatha Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Nanda, Mahārāja Nanda, tu, indeed, Atmaje, his son, Utpanne, having been born, Jata, overwhelmed, Ahaladaha, in great jubilation, Mahamanaha, who was great-minded, Ahuya, invited, Vibram, the Brahmanas, Veda Gyan, who were fully conversant in Vedic knowledge, Snataha, taking a full bath, Shuchihi, purifying himself, Alankritaha, being dressed very nicely with ornaments and fresh garments, Vachyatva, after causing to be recited, Swasti Ayanam, Vedic mantras by the Brahmanas, Jata Karma, the festival for the birth of the child, Atmajasya, of his own son. Why? Indeed, Karyam Asa, cause to be performed, Vidhivat, according to the Vedic revelations, Pitrudeva Archanam, the worship of the forefathers and the demigods, Tatha, as well as. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, Nanda Mahārāja was naturally very magnanimous, and when Lord Shri Krishna appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed by tribulation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantras. After having these qualified Brahmanas recite auspicious Vedic hymns, he arranged to have the Vedic birth ceremony celebrated for his newborn child according to the rules and regulations, and he also arranged for worship of the demigods and forefathers. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has discussed the significance of the words Nandastu. The word tu, he says, is not used to fulfill the sentence, because without tu, the sentence is complete. Therefore, the word tu is used for a different purpose. Although Krishna appeared as the son of Devaki, Devaki and Vasudeva did not enjoy the Jata Karma, the festival of the birth ceremony. Instead, this ceremony was enjoyed by Nanda Mahārāja, as stated here, Nandastu Atmaja Utpanne Jata Halado Mahamanaha. When Nanda Mahārāja met Vasudeva, Vasudeva could not disclose, your son Krishna is actually my son, you are his father in a different way spiritually. Because of fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva could not observe the festival of Krishna's birth. Nanda Mahārāja, however, took full advantage of this opportunity. The Jata Karma ceremony can take place when the umbilical cord connecting the child to the placenta is cut. However, since Krishna was brought by Vasudeva to the house of Nanda Mahārāja, where was the chance for this to happen? In this regard, this is very important. In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur desires to prove with evidence from many Shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Yashoda before the birth of Yogamaya, who is therefore described as the Lord's younger sister. Even though there may be doubts about the cutting of the umbilical cord, and even though it is possible that this was not done, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, such events are regarded as factual. Krishna appeared as Varahadev from the nostril of Brahma, and therefore Brahma is described as the father of Varahadev. Also significant are the words Karyam Asa Vidhivat. Being overwhelmed with jubilation over the birth of his son, Nanda Mahārāja did not see whether the cord was cut or not. Thus he performed the ceremony very gorgeously. According to the opinion of some authorities, Krishna was actually born as the son of Yashoda. In any case, without regard for material understandings, we can accept that Nanda Mahārāja's celebration for the ceremony of Krishna's birth was proper, This ceremony is therefore well known everywhere as Nandotsav. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatalham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So quickly capturing from the previous chapter, the atrocities of King Kamsa is where when Lord, he has taken birth after Kamsa had already killed the 6 sons, and then, he gave instructions. Sankarshan was attracted to the womb of Rohini, and then Yogamaya appeared as the daughter of Yashoda, and Vasudeva Krishna appeared as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And Lord instructed Vasudeva to take him and exchange with the daughter of Yashoda in Gokul. And Vasudeva carried it out, put him, and when he came back, raised the child in Yashoda's, in Devaki's lap, and again, put on his shackles, diamond shackles. And when Kamsa came, he tried to kill the daughter, the girl, baby girl. And she immediately flew up in the sky as Yogamaya. She appeared in her 8-armed form and told him that Lord Krishna is born elsewhere, the one who is going to kill. So the interesting thing is, he has appeared elsewhere. With the reference of Vishnu Purana, we had already provided that evidence earlier, that Yashoda did give birth to Lord Krishna, and here Vasudeva Krishna is not different from Krishna. One is Achintya Veda Veda Tattva also in Vishnu Tattva. He is appearing, and then as Vasudeva is laying down, Vasudeva Krishna, he doesn't see Krishna, he is in Aparakrit form. He is not visible to the eyes of Vasudeva. And Vasudeva Krishna merges into Krishna. At that time, suddenly the 4-arm form changes to 2-arm form. And now Vasudeva, the father, is happy that now he is appearing like a normal child and no one will recognize him. And he comes back. So here, the same reference is given, that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he tried to prove, he desires to prove with evidence from many Shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Yashoda. So whenever Krishna appears, he appears with his full paraphernalia, right? With Vrindavan, with the gopis, and appearing as the son of Yashoda. While who has taken birth in the prison cell of Kamsa? Vasudeva Krishna. So that's why the word Vasudeva is also referred to as the son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva has a second meaning, the one, Lord who is present everywhere. And generally people refer to it as with reference to Shri Dakshai Vishnu. Now, interestingly, previously, in the previous chapter, when Lord Sankarshan was born and was attracted to the womb of Rohini, Srila Prabhupada in the purport very clearly wrote that Rohini is always the mother of Lord Balaram. So now somebody could say, but Devaki was having Sankarshan. So that Sankarshan was attracted to the womb of Rohini. True. But Rohini is the mother of Balaram, and Sankarshan and Balaram merges in her womb. So when, afterward we will see, Akrura takes Krishna and Balaram, to Mathura. At that time, Vasudeva Krishna and Sankarshan, they proceed. Lord Krishna and Balaram, they stay back. So that's why Acharyas have identified again and again that Lord Krishna never steps out of Vrindavan. And what is the cause that he never steps out of Vrindavan? Does anyone know? Yes, because of the love of his devotees, he cannot leave them. He is so attracted to his devotees. And he is constantly in Vrindavan. He is eternally residing in Vrindavan. So, Now there is another importance of Nandotsav. So this is the next day of Nandotsav. And there is another significance for we devotees in ISKCON of Nandotsav. And what's the significance?
Celebration of Krishna's birthday.
Yes, it's also celebrated as the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. He appeared on Nandotsav. So that's another significance. So it's double jubilation, right? And now the description of Nandotsav is given. And Srila Prabhupada clearly refers to this celebration as it happens in spiritual world. And there is a very clear replication given, very clear description given in Brahma Samhita 5.29. Chintamani pakar sadma shukalpa vriksha laksha vrateshu surbhir abhipalayantam lakshmi sahastra shata samrama sevyamanam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So now the rose appear with Chintamani, the touchstone. And the trees are Kalpa Vriksha, desire trees. Kalpa Vriksha Lata Vriteshu. Surbhir Avapalayantam. And Lord Krishna, what is he engaged in? Constantly serving the cows, Surbhi cows. So what is his main engagement? Serving the Surbhi cows. What is the engagement of Vasudeva Krishna? Vasudeva Krishna. Is it same as Krishna, but yet at the same time he has his purpose. So again, all Vishnu Tattvas as they appear with a mission. Vasudeva Krishna, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, these four personalities manage the affair of this material world. And in this particular instance, Vasudeva Krishna's appearance refers to the prayer that was made by Bhumi, who appeared as cow to Lord Brahma, and saying that there are many demons on my planet Earth who are actually demons. So I need to be relieved of this extra heavy burden. And at that time, when Brahma prayed to the Lord, he received this message through his heart that Lord will appear in the Yadu dynasty. So Yadu dynasty, when we are referring to, Vasudeva Krishna is the one to relieve the earth from the demoniac kings and the demons who had appeared on planet Earth, to relieve from that burden. So there is also burden of love. That's a separate thing, but this is not burden of love. This is burden of demoniac propensities. So Pritranaya sadhana vinashaya chadushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So on the battlefield, Vasudeva Krishna is telling to Arjuna. So why do I say Vasudeva Krishna? Because he is not different from Krishna. Yet at the same time, he is at the battlefield of Kurukshetra while Krishna is still in Vrindavan. So Paritranaya sadhana, to deliver his devotees and vinashaya chadushkritam. So to annihilate the miscreants, the demons. He appears again and again. So that's the purpose. So when you understand the purpose of Vasudeva Krishna, yet at the same time, during this time when Vasudeva Krishna and Krishna, they are merged together, they are non-different. So again, it's again Achintya Bheda Tattva. And what's the meaning of Achintya? Inconceivable. Right? So it's inconceivable, yet at the same time, Acharyas make it very easy for us to understand that simply love Krishna, because he just loves back. And that's the main affair he is carrying out. And all the demons, as we'll be hearing starting from the next chapter onward, who come are actually killed by Vishnu and Krishna. Krishna doesn't kill. He is enjoying with his devotees. He is constantly immersed in Vididrik Swarila Bhirananda Kunde. He is constantly immersing Gokula, Vrindavan, with his love, with the bliss, spiritual love. So he has no business fighting. Yet the Vishnu and Krishna, he is the one who's killing all the demons, as we'll be hearing. And all these demons starting with the first one, were actually devotees who had committed some mistake, some offenses in the past birth and the past life. And so they were appearing as demons. Lord would not fight with miscreants just like that. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Janand Koti Vaishnava ki jai. So here, the main reference in the purport is given where Nandotsav is celebrated. Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambhram Sevyama. Sahasrashata, or hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis, goddess of fortune, were referred to here as gopis, right, in this particular chapter. They are constantly serving the Lord. So when the gopis in Vrindavan, they are the eternal associates of the Lord, they hear that Yashoda Mai has given birth to Krishna. They are all very jubilant, they are dressing very nicely. And they are described as full-figured ladies, right? And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that industrialization has destroyed a lot of our culture. And he continues to describe very nicely that these ladies, they are very nicely dressed and they are walking, with jewels and garlands and flowers in their hair. And it appears when they are walking to the house of Nanda Mahārāja, the palace of Nanda Mahārāja, there is a shower of flowers happening. So the flowers, the petals are becoming loose and falling, so there is a shower of flowers happening as they are walking on their way. And they are carrying various gifts for Krishna, for Yashoda Mai and Nanda Mahārāja. And as they go there, they bless the Lord, right? We all approach the Lord to receive the blessing. And these are the gopis who are blessing the Lord, sprinkling on him oil, turmeric, sandalwood and so forth, and saying that, may you take care of Vrajbhumi. Because he is appearing as son of Nanda Mahārāja. And Nanda Mahārāja is a Vaishya king, right? Because his main business is Rishi Goraksha. That's another reference. Lord likes to serve the cows. And Balaram, what does he carry? Hal, right? The plow. So, he's identifying that farming, agriculture is the main business. And Lord is identifying that cow protection, serving the cows, taking care of them is the main business. And at that time, and then of course Vanijya, which is trade. So when they had a lot of milk, butter, yogurt and so forth, they would of course trade that to get other things. That's why they were very opulently dressed. How would they get jewels? Do you get it by agriculture? Can you get jewels from agriculture? Yeah. Trading, yes. You have to trade to get other opulent things. So as they were approaching Nanda Mahārāja, he was also, ready, and he had invited brahmanas, the musicians, the dancers, and the whole house was filled with jubilation because there were singers singing, there were musicians playing their instruments. Everything was magnanimous, everything was very pleasing, everything was very festive. And now, as the proceedings continue, cowherd men and the gopis, the ladies, they started throwing butter and yogurt at each other. And they were smearing each other with yogurt and butter. That's how they used to celebrate Holi back in those days. Right? Now we get one time that we celebrate Holi. And afterwards also, when Rajasuya sacrifice, we heard in the 7th canto, when Yudhishthira Maharaj performed that ceremony, Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna, with his how many queens? 16,108 queens went to Hastinapura. At that time, there are also similar description given that they were throwing butter and yogurt at each other. So Srila Prabhupada refers to this as abundance. There's enough, everything is in abundance. And if you take to this culture, the Varnashram Dharma, then just by doing the cow protection, taking care of the cows, getting the milk, and preparing so many preparations, and then wonderful sweets and so forth, and offering it to the Lordship, and also doing agriculture, getting grains and so forth, one can live very nicely. It's very good condition. However, with the industrialization, everything is deteriorating. Industrialization is nuts and bolts. Can you eat nuts and bolts? No. And the interesting thing is, they prepare all these vehicles to go from one place to another place, while just by living in a village, people were self-sufficient. We were watching a video on Hungary, the ISKCON temple in Hungary. They started completely from scratch and they focused on two aspects: cow protection, taking care of cows, and then farming. And now they are more than self-sufficient. They have enough to sustain themselves. Also, they trade things and they actually employ other people to work on the farmland, to take care of other things. And they have very nice buildings and very nice arrangement. So Srila Prabhupada said that if you sincerely take it, and again, the start is always tough, right? Just before the sun rises, before even the abhas happens, it's the darkest hour outside. That's what the state was. We were hearing how devotees, when they moved to that area, and the mayor was and other council members, city council members, they were thinking, it's not going to be successful. This is too backward from industrialization perspective. And it's not going to be successful. The devotees were saying that they had to work in coal that they used to get frostbites in the fingers when they were, peeling the vegetables and preparing the bhoga for the Lordships. At that time it was very difficult in the early days. But now the sun is at its full. So it's very nice, very jubilant. And many people who want to retire, they are moving to those communities. And Prabhu, he was sharing that all you need is $25,000 and you can have a nice 2-bedroom house there to live, and then you serve at the temple and live very nicely.
In Hungary?
In Hungary, yes. It's lovely out there, what I can say, yes. Now it is, but of course, in the beginning, there's always a start. So imagine this, Mahārāja has become very magnanimous. Now the other factor that's identified in this particular chapter is the beauty of the ladies. That they are very nice, beautiful ladies, all the gopis and so forth. And then Prabhupada says, he writes in the purport, it's like in today's world, because of industrialization, all those features have diminished. And so people do not even get full development in their body. And that is true, we see that, right? Sometimes we have to see the face to really know whether it's a boy or a girl, because even from the body you can't distinguish many times. So that's also industrialization has given, because it's an unnatural way of living, and so because of that we are seeing the effects that the bodies are not fully developed as well. And as the Kali Yuga proceeds, it's said, in 12th canto as we hear, as how the humans, they will become shorter and shorter, just 2.5 feet, and they will only be living like 30-40 years, right? 50 is the max at that time, and they would have very bad features, and they would have very bad lifestyle and so forth. However, this is a golden age in Kali Yuga. Started 500 some years back with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who propagated a simple mantra to help us deliver and go back home where everything is perfect, everything is absolute. And it simply starts with a chant, raising a hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So remember Srila Prabhupada, in Australia, there was a movie actress. She had taken Jagattarani Devdasi, she had taken to Krishna consciousness. So the reporters, they wanted to learn that story, how she has taken to renounce order of life. She has become a renounced devotee because she has renounced the name, fame and glory coming from the film industry. So first they put a nice article on the front page of the newspaper. In one picture, she is dressed with all the makeup and everything, posing for the camera. In the other picture, she is in a sari in the temple, washing a pot. So, devotees, they wanted to show this article to Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mataji, she was very comprehensive, she did not want, so, yet at the same time, when they showed it to Srila Prabhupada looked at it and he smiled very nicely. He pointed to the picture, where she was with makeup and posing for the picture as an actress. He said, in this picture, she doesn't look very nice. She doesn't look beautiful. She looks morose, he said. While in the other picture, she looks very nice. She looks beautiful. So, yet at the same time, he also had it. But the materialist will see it the other way. Right? So it's very interesting that two people can see it, but they can see completely two different things in something. One person will see faults, one person will see no faults, but only take up the good things. So it's very important, but of course one of the divine nature is aversion to fault finding. So the demonic nature becomes just the opposite. Attraction to fault finding. Right? So one of the things is, materialists, they always try to see faults in others. While devotees, they try to see good in others. That's another lesson here. So here, very nicely, Nandotsav is being celebrated the next day. One of the aspects is, Nanda Mahārāja did not care if umbilical cord was cut or not. Because when Krishna appears, he is also said to be birthless. So Shukadeva Goswami is referring to him as the Lord who appears as the son of Yashoda is birthless. Because he appears by his own will. That's what is identified here. Now, second lesson is, when Lord appears, he appears once in every day of Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna. I'm referring to not the other, incarnations of the Lordship, but Lord Krishna himself. He appears in one day of Lord Brahma, he appears at a specific time of that day of Lord Brahma. And he appears always in Vrindavan. So somebody could say, how is that punctuality being maintained? Well, we see in his arrangement, sun rises at a defined time and the sun rises in the east. Has it ever happened that the sun rose in the west? Have you seen it rising in the west? North? South? No. Sun rises in the east. Yet at the same time, so Lord appears, and Srila Prabhupada says that Earth planet is very lucky that Lord decided to appear or manifest Vrindavan on planet Earth. He could have appeared by his will anywhere, but he decided to appear on planet Earth. So that's why Earth becomes glorious. And he appears as the son of Mother Yashoda. Yashoda Nandana, Brajajana Ranjana. So we see that he is Yashoda Nandana. He is son of Mother Yashoda. Now, in one of the aspects is, when Nanda Mahārāja is celebrating Nandotsav, it is said that he is worshipping the demigods. He is worshipping the forefathers. And he is satisfying all the devotees who have come to his home. All the cowherd men, all the gopis, the musicians, the brahmanas. And he gives in charity 7 hills of grain covered with jewel and cloth. He is distributing millions of cows, right, in charity. Now somebody could say, how is it that he is engaged in demigod worship, in forefathers worship? Isn't that less intelligent? Well, that's not true, because you have to understand the essence with which he is celebrating it. He is celebrating it to satisfy Lord Vishnu. He is celebrating it to satisfy Lord Krishna. And that's also been given in the 11th canto, 19th chapter. There is a verse in 21 where Mad Bhakta Pujava Dhika. So the Lord says, worshipping my devotee is better than worshipping me directly. This is also Lord Shiva. When he is describing the Lord's glories to Parvati, his wife Parvati, he also says that Lord is so merciful that he gives extra blessing to the devotee of his devotee. So a devotee is not as dear to Lord Krishna than the devotee of the devotee. So this is actually saying that the further we are in the chain, the closer we get to be receiving the blessing of the Lord. Because we have so many acharyas making our plea, right? We alone are making our plea, but there are so many more acharyas who are making plea on our behalf. So we get the blessings. When we serve the devotee, who is serving the devotee, so Dasanudas Bhav is also shown here. So the ultimate goal of life in this Nanda stuff is, of course, to please Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. And that's why Shukadeva Goswami is referring that by doing these activities, by celebrating Nandotsav, Mahārāja Nanda is creating suitable condition for Lord Krishna, for his son. Because he is glorifying his son by worshipping his son and worshipping the devotees. Now, there is a very important thing that's given is not satisfying Lord Vishnu, but instead attempting to become happy through material adjustment is the wrong way for happiness. So if you want to become happy, right, if you want to derive happy, then it's not by sense gratification. You cannot satisfy your senses. Better is to satisfy the senses of the master of senses, right? So by satisfying the master of senses, Rishikesha, right, is the supreme. So by satisfying him, we become happy. And people who try to satisfy the senses, they become more and more morose, because it's like putting clarified butter in fire. And we always hear that you cannot, die out the fire by putting clarified butter, rather it becomes stronger and stronger. And that's what we saw in the case of Kans, that he is becoming more and more powerful, but he is more and more fearful. As the day is approaching, he is thinking, Krishna will come anytime and will kill me. And he would not even sleep with the lights out. He would always have his lights on and all his guards at the doors all night long. So that, and you can imagine, he's constantly thinking of Krishna, but he's thinking unfavorably. And that has been recommended by Acharyas not to be done. We should think of him favorably. So Nanda Mahārāja decided to go to where? Mathura, the city of Kamsa. Kamsa is the king of the Bhoja dynasty, to pay taxes. And also because a son is born, he wants to make some extra offerings to Kamsa so that Kamsa is satisfied. Nanda Mahārāja was already aware at this time that there were infants getting killed in different places. So what he does is, he has some local cowherd men, to protect and put on guard when he leaves. So he places them in guard and he goes to Mathura. At Mathura he pays taxes. As he is staying, Vasudeva, he comes to know. So what had happened was, Vasudeva and Devaki, they were out of shackles. Kamsa was showing his brotherly love towards her, and they are back outside the prison house and they are living very nicely. And when Vasudeva comes to know that Nanda Mahārāja is there, he immediately goes to meet Nanda Mahārāja. And it is in the 20th chapter, it is said that they were meeting in a friendly and brotherly manner. So that's another place, another secret is revealed. That they are half brothers, half cousins. Right? Yet at the same time, they have a very strong... You may be brothers, right? But you could very well be enemy. But they are friends also. So in a brotherly and friendly manner, they meet. So Sripad Madhvacharya, he has elaborated on this, that Vasudeva and Nanda Mahārāja were, half cousins, half brothers. How? Because Vasudeva's father, Sursen, he had married a daughter from a Vaishya family, from a mercantile family. And from her were born Nanda and Upananda, the two brothers. While, Vasudeva was also his son, Sursen's son. So they had different mothers, but same father, right? Sometimes it happens. So now, and Nanda Mahārāja is very elderly. He is, much elder. So when Vasudeva approaches Nanda Mahārāja, he embraces Vasudeva, while Vasudeva is paying obeisances. Because Vasudeva is younger and Nanda Mahārāja is older. And they converse like brothers, holding arm in arms. They are conversing as brothers. And at that time, Vasudeva first inquires, how's everything? And what is he really inquiring about? He's inquiring about his sons. He's inquiring about my two sons, Krishna and Balaram. Now Balaram, he knows, son of Rohini, but Rohini, she is living under the shelter of Nanda Mahārāja. And that's also within family, right? Because Vasudeva was imprisoned by Kansa. So, she had to, all his wives, they were actually living incognito. So Rohini had taken shelter of Nanda Mahārāja in Yashoda mind, and she was living with them. And Balaram was born. So he's thinking, my seventh son Balaram, how's he doing? And then he's also expressing that, there are four basic principles people follow. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, right? So he's saying that Dharma, Artha, Kama, sense gratification, is Kama. Dharma is religiosity, and Artha is economic development. These three do not give pleasure if one's relatives are in distress. So you may have very nice condition, and it can be very nicely described in a specific case. I was in school time, I remember. This is where we had a common room where we would go and play carom and all. We were just kids, middle school kids. And we were playing very nicely. And there was this kid, he was winning all the games. He was at the top of his world, right? And we used to, at that time, we used to say, okay, I'll give you my dessert if you win, or I get your dessert if I win. Because some level of, gambling per se was going on among the kids. Bad habits, yes. Now we understand that was a bad habit. But back then, this is how we used to play, carom games and all that. So we were playing, and this kid was winning like crazy. So he's getting this economic development, right? He's getting nice arrangement for his desert-based dinner he's planning. At that time, the results came out. And at that time, he came to know that he failed. He was the only kid who failed. Everybody else passed. Just because he failed in that specific subject, he suddenly lost interest. He lost his appetite. He went to the dinner and he didn't eat anything. He didn't even touch anything. He was so morose. So economic development doesn't give you a sense gratification that you are going to have. It doesn't give you any pleasure. He has about 20-some deserts sitting in front of him. He was not happy because something bad had happened. Imagine that something bad had happened to him. Something that happens to your dear one is even worse. So Vasudeva is reflecting that, we are in this material world. We are like the branches that fall in the river. They come together, but because of the current, they go apart. So sometimes we see that in the families also, because kids have to get job. They go and move to another city and so forth. So the kutum is lost. The familial closeness, that is lost because people are trying to find jobs in other places. Well, in the village life, the children can continue to stay, and that's why India is known to have this large, long families with 3-4 generations living together. Such a nice arrangement. And so Vasudeva is identifying, and he's actually warning us that because of the karmas we perform in our previous lives, we may have interaction with our loved ones, but we never know where they will be tomorrow. So the separation is because of the karmas. Yet at the same time, we should always be ready to be very loving to our loved ones. Sometimes people are more loving to the strangers and they're more obnoxiously actually behaving with their loved ones. We should realize that you don't know how long you have the time to be with your loved ones. And also when he meets Nanda Mahārāja, he's saying, it is as if this is my second birth. Because he was in prison. So as if he has taken birth again, he's feeling so jubilant, seeing Nanda Mahārāja. And he's inquiring about Balaram and Krishna. So, yet at the same time, he has this doubt. Does Nanda Mahārāja know that Krishna is my son? And then at that time, Nanda Mahārāja, he says, oh yeah, they are fine, yet at the same time, he is reflecting in his brotherly love. He's saying, showing concern that yes, I know that you lost 6 of your sons. And your daughter went to heavenly planet. At that time, Vasudeva is relaxed because he's thinking that Nanda Mahārāja doesn't know that the daughter was actually his, Nanda Mahārāja's daughter, Maya. She appeared as the daughter of Nanda Mahārāja. So he is relaxed. And so somebody can say, well, this is a cheating between brothers. Because one brother took the daughter of another brother and give it, and then she was about to be killed. But Devaki did try her very best to save her. But at the same time, this was Maya who didn't get killed. She just went back to heavenly planets. So they meet together very nicely, and at that time, Vasudeva hints to Nanda Mahārāja that you should be going back, now that you have paid taxes and everything, you should go back to Gokul because there may be trouble there. And realizing this as a sign, Nanda Mahārāja and all the cowherd Nanda immediately bid goodbye to Vasudeva, and they yoked their bulls to the bullock carts, and then they headed back to Gokul. So this is where the chapter ends. But it has so many nice lessons for us to learn. To always be loving, to always be humble, and to always show gratitude to what we have received in our life. Hare Krishna. And of course, how do you show gratitude? Well, Hari Bol is definitely one way. Another way to show gratitude to the Supreme Lord by chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Kandraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nanda Kori Vaishnavindi ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande. Hare Hare.
This darshan is from ISKCON of DC. Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai.